tuned into Flipping the Birds, a Philly Sports Network podcast.
What's going on, Eagles fans? Welcome all to episode 19 of Flipping the Birds. I'm Brian Cameron, and he's Christian Fonte, and they are the Ugly Birds of 2019. If you're joining us now, we are fresh off the loss to the Patriots. We lost 17-10. The offense tallied passing-wise, I think 214 yards. Rushing, how many yards? About like 60 possibly? Maybe a little more?
The Patriots had 74 yards rushing, and the Eagles had 81.
Okay, so let's dive into this because I think this is be more of a reflection podcast than it is a reaction. Let's just go for it.
I'm gonna
give me two takeaways. Yeah, give me two takeaways that you have that you really want to nip in the bud right now, because obviously, like, You're jumping into this right now. I apologize in advance. I mean, we are fans ourselves, so we're going to be speaking very bluntly. And if you're on the bandwagon of the Eagles can do nothing wrong, you're still stuck in 2017. So, ball's in your court. I'll follow up with whatever you say. As you take a big chug.
I need to take a big chug of water for this one. You know, now the last couple of days I've been waking up at like 3 a.m. with feeling really sick and not being able to sleep or anything. I think it's because my body just knew this game was going to happen. It was just It was like Friday, Saturday, this morning. Just couldn't sleep. I was like, why the hell can't I sleep? And I think it was because this game was coming because it was ugly.
Mm-hmm.
And two things. The first thing I want to talk about is the defense. The defense. We haven't seen this Eagles defense in a long time.
They're really good.
Yeah, the fact that you held Tom Brady to 216 yards, no touchdowns. You know, when was the last time he threw for less than 300 and no touchdowns? You know, you can argue that he doesn't have the weapons that he's usually had in the past, but he's still Tom fucking Brady.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they've been averaging so many yards a game. You know, they've been doing great this year. They were 8-1. They had just lost 2 weeks ago to the Ravens. So there's still a high flying offense that you could have. If everybody was deeming this as a blowout, like they were saying, Brady's going to drop 4 or 5 touchdowns on the Eagles defense. They're going to win 34-10 or whatever, something like that. And so there was no confidence whatsoever in this defense. And I'm one of those people. I thought it was going to be a shootout. I thought it was going to be Brady, passing for 4 touchdowns, and it was going to be a ground game between Howard and Sanders. Obviously, Howard didn't play because.
Do you think that affected the game plan that much that the run game was just non-existent and they relied more on Boston Scott than anybody, apparently?
I don't think it should. If it affected the game plan today, then the coaches need to look at themselves and be like, "What the fuck are we doing?" Because you kind of knew Howard wasn't going to play today.
Yeah, so at least a week in advance already.
Yeah, if your game plan revolved around Howard still being the bell cow, even though all week was, he has a stinger, which if he suffered it against Chicago, how come if it's a stinger in his shoulder, how come it's not healed by this point? But we're also talking about the Eagles medical staff. So they're like, they're playing with the Fisher-Price doctor's office in the Eagles right now.
Yeah, they're really bad at it right now.
They got those plastic stethoscopes, and they're like, "Oh, you're healthy. Go ahead, go out." But without Howard today, you didn't really have that back to go in between tackles. That's not Sanders' game. Sanders is not right now. I love Sanders as much as I want to poo-poo on him and all this shit. He's a complimentary back. He's not a lead back yet. And if you don't have that running back that goes in between the tackles to set the tone in between the tackles. Sanders can't really bounce outside and all that. Scott, the fact that they used Scott as the first pass of the game as a downfield threat. I know it ended up being a pass interference.
Yeah.
But Boston Scott, all 5'8" of him.
Was not catching that.
He wasn't even pass interference or not. He was not catching that over
Absolutely not.
McCourty. McCourty's like 6'2". There was no offensive game plan.
There was no game plan. But does it blow your mind that we signed Ajayi to replace Howard in a sense for this Sunday, and
he didn't touch it? He didn't even say game. I think he suited up, but he didn't go in.
That's mind blowing. Like, he's the in between tackler that Howard is. He's the bone bruising back that Howard is.
Like, I get that he was just signed Friday, but he said in an interview after the signing, it's pretty much the same playbook that he was with. He was just here last year. He was on the 2018 roster. That's when he tore his ACL.
Oh yeah, he did tear it in week 2.
Yeah, he was with the Eagles last year, so nothing's really changed.
Nothing really changed.
So why not say you remember these plays? And he's been like, yeah, I remember these plays, and get him in there. If he saw his health, he's over a year removed from ACL surgery right now. He's definitely healthy. Mm-hmm. Who knows what happened with the Cardinals and the Lions when he went to go work out for them? But if you're already bringing in a wide receiver in Jordan Matthews and immediately integrating him into your offense, I know he had a week to prepare with the offense, but you're saying, oh, he knows all the plays already. He knows chemistry with Carson Wentz. You have a Super Bowl winning running back that just signed back with the team, who was just on the team last year, who knows all the plays. Why not give him some run? Give him 10 touches. See what he does with it.
And he did good against the Patriots in the Super Bowl too.
Yeah,
I mean, he was a very overlooked player in that game.
But I think going back to the defense, before I go into the offense, Brady this year, he has had 4 games over 300 yards. And that was against Pittsburgh, the Jets, the Redskins, and the Giants. All of his other games are under 300, 264, 2 touchdowns. 249, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. 259, 2 touchdowns. 285, 1 touchdown. The only game he had under 300 yards with no touchdowns was when they beat the Bills 16-10. He only had 150 yards and no touchdowns and 1 interception. So it was really only one other game this year that he performed terrible. So for the Eagles to do that to him when he's only happened one other time, it's very impressive. But then on the flip side of the impressive, because
it's a good sign moving forward with the defense,
especially with the defensive pressure. The defensive pressure was in his face the entire first half, and then you look at the second half and what the hell happened. It's the Eagles were up 10-0 because of the pressure. They were in Brady's face. Yeah, Brady was getting the ball out and not getting sacked, but he was getting the ball out a lot sooner than he wanted to. He didn't want to get sacked, but so he's throwing the ball out. But Barnett was his face, Avery was his face, Graham was in his face, Cox was in his face, Rush was in his face, Riggins was in his face. I said say Cox in his face.
Yeah, because every time you say that, I end up laughing. I don't know if you guys noticed in the last week's podcast, he said the same thing, and I ended up laughing. But go ahead.
You 30 or 13?
Still deciding that one.
Yeah. It's like me and the number 69. Come on. Jesus Christ, we're on a podcast. But anyways, but then after that rush gets to Brady then passes the ball, completes it, and then we have linebackers, Nate Jerry, who cannot tackle for the life of them. And now I say this knowing full well that Nate Jerry had 10 tackles today. He had 10 tackles because everybody, when you have 10 tackles on how many chances he had, because, the ball was coming to him pretty much all the time.
Yeah.
So you kind of had to have 10 tackles. But coming into this game, he had
down. I thought they were gonna actually put in Singleton to take his place, but he came right the next play.
I was hoping.
Yeah.
But coming into this game, he had 22 solo tackles and 11 assisted. So 33 tackles coming into this game out of 9 games. So today, after today's performance, he had 7 solo tackles and 3 assisted. So now for the season, he has 29 solo tackles and 14 assisted in 10 games. You're averaging about 4 tackles a game, and you're one of our starting linebackers. And you needed that average you needed those 7 solos and 3 assisted today to help your average go up to 4 a game. Because so far, you're averaging 2.4 solo tackles a game and a little over 1 assist. So what were you doing? And he's terrible in coverage. We don't really have a linebacker right now who can be. I think TJ Edwards is pretty good in coverage, but
Camu's not bad. He's starting to look like himself.
Camus was all over the place today.
Yeah, he's starting to really look good.
He's my twin brother. But our corners finally looked good. Maddox had.
Darby got his speed back.
Darby was looking real good today.
He was today.
He was looking like Bill's Darby today.
Yeah. Jalen Mills had a couple of good plays.
Mills had his dance moves ready for when the ball sailed over his head and Tom Brady overthrew it. He was ready to dance like he did something. But McLeod should have had the interception.
Yeah.
I think the defense held up there because that was that typical play that defense tries to make a play, drops an interception, then all of a sudden Tom Brady hits a touchdown next play.
Mm-hmm.
That had that all over it, and good thing it didn't happen. But there are just the Eagles need to put an emphasis on linebacker in the draft, wide receiver and linebacker, or in free agency. I'm not sure who's a free agent and for linebackers.
I don't think this year's cream of the crop is actually that good in almost any position at this point.
Well, I mean, but like, you got to do something back there. I know Bradham's back next year. You got TJ Edwards for another year. Hopefully Alex Singleton sticks around.
Yeah, but Bradham is getting up there in age.
He is, but Duke Riley has no place on this team.
Absolutely not.
Nate Jarry has no place on this team.
Yeah, we say that, but the coaches don't think that.
I know that the coaches are dumb sometimes, and we'll get into that in a minute. Camus definitely has a place on this team.
Yeah, absolutely.
He 100% has a place on this team. I think he has an extension, doesn't he? I don't know.
Not yet. I think they were supposed to sign him.
A quick look at the top 5. I don't know when was this updated, but the top 5 free agent linebackers going into next year. I don't know when this is updated. Bobby Wagner, he's definitely
he just signed. He signed an extension already. Yeah.
Deion Jones, if he hasn't signed an extension yet,
he did in the beginning of the season.
Okay, Shaq Thompson out of Carolina. Joe Schobert. I was pounding the table for a Joe Schobert trade at trade deadline. Send Big V, who should have been traded before this game, who was terrible this game, for Joe Schobert. Like, I wanted him so bad. I'm very happy with Avery from the Browns. Very happy with Avery, but Schobert's really good.
Avery's been really damn good.
He's been great. But then a tackle machine in Blake Martinez of the Packers. He's a free agent. I'm sure he'll get extended, but these are just a few names that should, like the Eagles, as soon as March whatever happens, the first day of free agency, Howie Roseman needs to open a checkbook for a really good linebacker. Like this, it has to happen. It hasn't happened in a very long time. I can't remember. I mean, they drafted Jordan Hicks. When was the last time
it still blows my mind that they let him go.
I mean, he's not good in coverage in Arizona, but when was the last time the Eagles signed a really good linebacker and it worked out for them?
This guy,
yeah.
They called him. Damn! Why is his name running away from me now? His nickname was Mufasa.
D'Amico Ryans. He was a trade.
Okay. Forget it then.
D'Amico Ryans was a trade. No,
Bradham was a signing. And
I know Bradham was a signing, but I mean, in the past, before Bradham.
Nobody.
Like,
those were the Chip Kelly days. We had Joe Walker.
And if you're listening and you want to tell us who who is it? Then fine.
Just shoot us a tweet, yeah.
Yeah. But all right. So actually, is Bradham a free agent next year?
After they extended him, didn't they?
I could.
So,
Let me look up the schedule. Let me look up his contract right now because I'm looking at 2020 free agents for linebackers, and his name is on there for some reason. So.
well, not for some reason. It means the Eagles are not re-signing him.
Well, I mean, if it says that he's free agent, then I could have sworn maybe that his contract extension's up. Remember, he got that extension a couple of years ago.
Yeah, but how long ago was that? Wasn't that 2016?
His contract was a 5-year Oh no, he's a free agent in 2023.
Wait, he signed a contract in the 2018 offseason, 5-year contract extension.
Yeah.
Damn.
Oh no, it is a. I don't know if the Eagles can get out of it or if he can opt out of it. He can get out after this season, but with a $5 million cap hit.
So he's most likely staying on the roster.
Yeah. All right, so then you're looking at Von Miller.
He's a free agent?
He's a free agent. Hey, Howie.
It's not happening. Don't do it, Chris. Don't put yourself in that boat again. We're not doing this again.
I'm gonna save that for my offseason.
Yeah, we'll save that for later on.
Dante Fowler in the Rams. He's a free agent. So Von Miller has a club option for next year. They'll definitely exercise that.
Yeah, of course.
Bradham has a club option for next year. So we're looking at Dante Fowler Jr., who's 26, Mario Addison, Danny Trevathan, Whitney Merciless, AJ Klein, Kyle Van Noy, Suggs, Terrell Suggs in his 37-year-old body. That'll probably be the move they make. 37. He'll be 38.
Yeah, most likely. They like the old people.
Kendricks, if he gets his
Vikings Kendricks or Seattle Kendricks?
Seattle old Eagles.
No.
Yeah,
I still don't. Yeah, he's an idiot.
Shaquille Barrett and his 1,000 sacks this year. He has 12 sacks this year. Sean Lee, that'll probably be the move too.
That better not be the move.
But we're looking at age-wise. If we're looking at really young, Darren Lee in Kansas City, who the Eagles were looking to trade for from the Jets, and he's now in Kansas City. Bud Dupree on Pittsburgh, Shaq Thompson, Carolina. Who else is pretty young?
I'm asking you a serious question right now because we're about 15 to 20 minutes into the podcast. After seeing the results of this year's offseason, and I need your most honest opinion.
Kamu's a free agent.
Yeah, they're gonna extend him though. We know that.
Yeah, who knows? Joe Walker's a free agent too.
Leave Joe Walker alone, bro. Do you think, and it's something I may have asked a while ago, do you think the Eagles have set themselves back a couple years because of the lack of youth that they have right now?
I think.
Or do you honestly feel like this team can compete? Or are we like a coaching staff move away, or are we a couple players away, or does this team really need to be focused on like getting younger and just retooling it from top to bottom?
I think this is a complete. I don't want to say overhaul. The Eagles need talent. They don't have much talent right now.
They really don't. If you think about it,
and they don't have talent on the roster right now outside of the obvious names, and they don't have talent in the coaching staff anymore. I've been on Jim Schwartz, fire Jim Schwartz all season. Everybody knows that. Everybody who's heard me say it and seen me tweet it, I've been on the complete fire Jim Schwartz point. I don't want him back next year, but I nothing he does this year would make me change my mind. I think his scheme sucks, and I think
So even after this game, where
No,
the defense is fully.
let me finish talking. Damn it!
This is how we work. You know that. Stop getting emotional,
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
okay? Just go. Keep going before you forget.
Again, no matter what happens this year, I don't think his scheme will work anymore. But right now, it looks like he is adjusting. He has been adjusting in the last 3 weeks. He has been very good. Okay? See, you. If you would let me talk, you would have heard.
I got a quick question. Did you see Sidney Jones today at all?
Sidney Jones is he probably, was he even on the sideline? He's definitely home.
I don't even know anymore, bro. That poor guy, bro.
Sidney Jones is going to go to another team next year and flourish.
Has to.
He's going to have 10. He's going to have 10 interceptions next year.
He's probably getting a lockdown cornerback and everything. But to focus on it, so we're on the same boat.
What boat is that?
That the Eagles need to. That this team cannot. If we said it before, if they reach the playoffs, this is not a team that can win a Super Bowl right now. There's literally no talent outside of Wentz, outside of the obvious names in the offensive line, tight ends. You have talent, Jordan Howard, Sanders.
I mean, worst teams
staff messes that up.
Worst teams have won the Super Bowl. Worst teams have
with no talent on the White House. Name a team that had a bad wide receivers that won the Super Bowl.
The Ravens in 2000.
Anquan Bolden, Torrey Smith.
The Giants, the first Giants title, because that was a David Tyree catch.
Didn't they have Plaxico?
They have Plaxico, but so this team right now has. So if you're just naming one person, this team right now has talent.
Where?
Quarterback?
No, I'm talking about the White House.
A White House.
We said quarterback is good. Because say Deshaun comes back for the playoffs. Say we make the playoffs. Deshaun comes back. Beautiful. The guy's in place since week 1. The chemistry's not going to be full on there. We saw that in week 1. It took him a whole half to adjust what took him a whole training camp to learn. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but I'm just being semi-realistic right now. And I'm stumping you, and I like it.
Just keep going.
Okay, so we talked about the offense. We talked about defense. We talked about my proposition to Chris. Now, something I know you want to talk about. Chris caught a moment during the game that he will explain right now, and we'll go deeper into that moment.
Is that me right now?
That's definitely your cue on me.
That's my
I'm not going to spoil it for you.
Okay. So during I can't remember what point in the game it is. I have to try and because I tweeted out. First of all, before I even get that was a friggin' fumble on the Patriots wide receiver. Like, fuck these refs.
Oh, yeah. That's the most mind-blowing thing. Like, he had forward progress. The guy didn't move. He just caught the ball.
Fuck these refs.
Like, first has to be a football move. Now it's forward. Like, bro. All right. Stop getting me frustrated. Let's go. Go back to your moment.
Seriously. Like, he was going to the ground, and you're going to say, oh, his
forward progress. Bro, he was going down.
Shut up. All right, so I can't even. Did my tweet not go out? What the hell? So I saw it was at some point the Eagles did not convert on third down, and Wentz was coming back to the sideline, and he was like pointing, and he was shaking his head. And it really looked like when they turned the camera to where Wentz is walking, Peterson was there, but right behind him was Mike Groh. And I really want to believe that he was pointing at Mike Groh and being really angry. It's time to take the biggest boot you can find and boot the fuck out of Mike Groh out of this building and Carson Walsh, both of them. Deuce Staley is still on my shit list right now. He's on my shit list right now because his running back rotation today was.
Yeah, that really pissed me off. It kind of blew my mind, the Boston Scott thing.
So-
but I will say one thing, and I've been on the Sanders train for God knows how long. But I'm gonna admit this: there was one play where the two tight ends were lined up to the right. Sanders had that play, and he didn't take the gap that was open to him. Instead, he jumped. He had like a jump cut to the right. Boston Scott ran that same play, took the gap, and gained, I think, probably like 8 or 9 yards. So that really pissed me off today. That's one thing.
Sorry, I was reading a quote from Nelson Aguilar right just a few minutes ago.
Oh, this is going to be nice. Let's see.
He said when he was asked about if he tracked the ball well.
They asked him that.
He said, "Yeah, I did. If anything, I kind of hit the ground, and that's when I lost it." Shut the fuck up.
So in that same tweet, though, you can actually see the video.
Yeah, you're looking at Dave Zangaros?
Yeah, he's catching the ball before hitting the ground. Bro, I can't do this.
I think what he's saying is that as soon as he hit the ground, that's when he lost control of the ball. But there are many receivers in this league who can catch the ball while falling to the ground. I want to say about 98% of the wide receivers in this league can catch the ball while falling to the ground. And if you can't say you tracked it well, and I want to say this is from Kist. And Mike, if you're listening, I'm shouting you out right now. He replied to a Mike K tweet about this, and I'm
looking at the same tweet.
Mike K tweeted out how Aguilar said he felt like he tracked the fourth down strike to the end zone well, but when he hit the ball, when he hit the ground, the ball came loose. And Mike Kiss said, having to turn yourself into a pretzel to have the ball clang off your hands when you have 3 full seconds to adjust to the path of the ball is not good tracking. That's it. Like if you see the ball coming and you're still going one way, and you have so much time to plant your foot down and turn back, especially when it probably would have made you even more wide open than you were, because it would have stopped the defensive backs, and they would have flown past you, and you could have caught that ball. That's not good tracking. Like, he's a deer in the headlights. When he looks up, he sees the lights, and he's like, duh. And he can't see it. And it's frustrating. And I know people are going to come back and say, well, Wentz was bad today. I think
yes.
I think he was average. You know, they were both, and by both I mean him and Brady. They were both playing with the same wind today. It's not like the wind was only blowing for Brady. Brady had some overthrows too. I know a lot of his miscues were based on the pressure given by the line, but there are some throws that Brady that you're looking at like, is he okay, or is it just the wind? So Wentz did have his fair share of bad throws. Some of it was wind, and others were just straight up bad throws.
I agree.
I'm not going to say he was below average. You know, you want to say get the ball out. Don't take those sacks. Get the ball out. The camera's only on Carson Wentz.
Mm-hmm.
The camera's not on everybody. You can't say get the ball out when everybody's covered. When we don't have a receiver that can get separation.
Exactly.
I gave Matt Collins a damn compliment today. I gave him
that was good.
If he likes to get off on his grades and all that stuff, I give you an A+, Mac, because you're. Oh, that was actually I give you an A+ for the drives that I paid attention to you. The first pass to, I want to say Matthews. His first target to Matthews, Hollins was actually open. That's when I tweeted out. Matt Hollins was actually open on that drive. Just Wentz probably has zero confidence in him, so he just didn't look his way. And then on the overthrow, which I think was more wind than an overthrow.
It looked like it.
It looked like it just sailed. It looked like it sailed because of the wind. Hollins beat a cornerback. I was like, oh shit, get the fuck out of here. He can do that. But then, who else is getting separation? And then you have JJ, or J-Jaw, how you like to call it, after Kiss said J-Jaw.
Listen, don't you start with me, right?
He comes back and he makes a 29-yard reception to extend the drive. We're all like, holy shit, JJ's here. And then
I
Peterson
got
takes it out.
a quick statement about that. If you actually look at the video, didn't J-Jaw look like a fat man just like jogging back towards the ball? If you actually look at the highlight.
Fat man or not, he still caught it. Unlike Aguilar.
And they went right out, which is it's an Eagles theme. And somebody just tweeted out, somebody I follow, I don't know why I follow this person or how I follow this person, but they put elephant in the room here. There is something just not right with Carson Wentz this season. And I feel like that's a load of crap, because if you actually look at the numbers and you actually look at the games, the game plan this year just sucks. Game in, game out. The only one game the game plan looked terrific, and it was against the Packers. Other than that, this game plan, if they're not running the ball, the receivers get no separation, like you were just stating. There's no talent in the receivers. Not even with Alshon. Alshon just looks like a shell of himself this year. Ertz and Goddard have been consistent, even though Goddard's, had a couple drops here and there. But I guess what I'm trying to ask is, how much of this season do you blame on Carson? Because if truly, I would say Carson deserves probably like 20% of the blame, just for the fact he needs to get over the past games, past issues, past drops, and have trust in his receivers. Because like you said, Mac was open several times in this game. Possibly other receivers may have been open, but I highly doubt it. But how much of this season so far to this point do you blame on Wentz?
I mean, I think there's maybe two games this year two losses this year that you could really just put on him. He didn't perform well against Dallas. He performed average today, like I said. If you look at the losses, the 5 losses, Atlanta, he put the ball in Aguilar's hands.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit, he put the ball in JJ's hands. You look at Minnesota, he did not perform that great against Minnesota.
No.
He was 26 of 40 for 306, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. But like those stats were more like towards the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't perform well. Then you got Dallas, 16 of 26, 191 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. So that's another dud. Today, 26. No, that was not today. I'm looking at the Chicago game. Today was average, and Today was a mix between him and the game plan, and the receivers. Obviously the receivers.
Yeah, because Wentz held the ball way too long.
Because he can only hold this for so long because of the damn separation. There's no separation. Who are you throwing it to?
And I think they showed the timing as well, like past 3 seconds.
Right, and then if Wentz throws the ball, then he's throwing into tight coverages or he's throwing to defenders, and then when he gets an interception, you're all going to say, "Oh, well, he sucks. Why did you make that throw?" Because you're telling him to throw the ball and not hold on to it. So when he does throw the ball and not hold on to it, and he throws it to double covered receivers, because that's what they are, or receivers who can't run a route. So you can't have it both ways. You can't complain that Wentz holds the ball too long and then complain when he zips it out and say, "Oh, he should have held it a little longer." No, you can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like some of you out there just want to argue just because it gets you off. It really does. You get out on Twitter like, who can I piss off today? That's what you do. Right now, this team is
mediocre.
Yes. Mostly because the talent. Like, you have the talent at quarterback. Hopefully Howard is back next week because you're going to need it against Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
And if tackling in space today was any indication, we're going to have a long fucking day next week against Russell Wilson.
Oh, my God. I'm not looking forward to it.
Like, Sony Michel pretty much trucked Nate Jerry today. And if Sony Michel can do that, imagine what Russell Wilson and Chris Carson is going to do to you. Like it's the Seattle's offensive line is not that great, but when you have Russell Wilson running around back there, who needs really an offensive line? You might as well just have a center and snap.
Is Lockett healthy or is he still injured?
I think he should be playing. So you're gonna be facing against Metcalf, Lockett, and Josh
Gordon, who they did not claim on waivers.
But did not claim.
So I think we agree. 20% blame, 2 out of 10 games for Wentz.
Yeah.
I'm at a loss of words for it right now because this team coming into the season was supposedly the most talented roster in the league, and I feel like it trickles down from the top. Howie, I feel like did a poor job of getting younger. Coach,
and I do want to about that. You know, I think it's more because of the contracts that we've given out. And Morgan on PSN touched on that earlier today. He was looking at the contracts, and looking at the contracts, he says that the Eagles handcuff themselves in terms of what they can do to change the team. Like so many players on this roster right now, if you traded them, dead cap. Especially Alshon, you trade him to $15 million in cap space. So if he's not performing, you're stuck with him. Essentially, anyone who's restructured over the last few years is essentially guaranteed a spot unless Howie wants to absorb $1 million. It's a win with this roster or a win through the draft. In a way, restructuring is essentially guaranteeing a contract is paid out with the onus placed on the team. All these players want guaranteed contracts, but what they should be looking for is incentives that turn into signing bonuses upon restructure. And it's like how he sees this team. He sees how many people he's restructured for the future, and then he sees, oh shit, look at all this dead cap I got to do right now. So I really can't. I just got to put bodies in for like minimums right now, and to fit in on the cap space. So that's when you get a Jordan Matthews. That's when you get a Jay Ajayi coming off the ACL surgery who didn't play a snap today, which he should. And Ron Jaworski just tweeted out, Carson Wentz had 48 dropbacks versus New England today. He was under pressure or duress for 22 of those plays, 45.8%. As soon as Lane Johnson lost the game,
that was a wrap.
Jason Peters should never play this game. It's Andre Dillard's time. Get Peters. Sorry, Peters. I love you. We all love you. Goodbye.
Did they move Peters to the right side, or is that kind of like a? It's not a thing for tackles to really pull off.
No, I think it depends because when you're on the left side, you study that side. You study the cadences when you're next to that guard. You know what that guard can do, the signs and stuff. So it's kind of different. You know that Big V learned all the positions. I think Isaac Seumalo learned guard and center. So there's different nuances and stuff. They threw Dillard on the right side. I think as like a third tight end at some point. That's when he had his false start. But I don't think Peters is done. Hopefully Johnson's back next week because it is a concussion.
Yeah,
but
he should be back.
Hopefully he being out that early in a game, he was able to get a head start in his recovery. But
it's tough because we're in a tough predicament. I mean, depending on how the season ends, like I have mild hope that we'll reach playoffs because as much as I hate to admit it, Dallas, they could catch fire at any point. As bad as Prescott really is, like the dude has 3 legit receivers that have legit talent.
I just saw that he's on pace for 5,100 passing yards this year.
Did you see the yardage between Cobb and Gallup today?
Yeah.
They both had over 100 yards, and that's with Amari Cooper only catching for 39 yards, I think it was.
Must be nice to have receivers who can do stuff.
Which is a mind-blowing thing because we know Dallas is going to be cap-strapped soon, but they have the young talent. They drafted Gallup. The Rams drafted Kupp. Like, all these teams took chances for these young receivers early on, and the Eagles have been holding back because they want to build so much in the trenches.
See, here's the deal with the Cowboys. They face the Patriots next week.
I know their schedule is going to get super tough. I know that.
So this season is still wide open.
Yeah, absolutely. But my fear is...
And I think with them, losing against the Vikings, and then struggling against a Jeff Driscoll-led Lions team today, I think that's setting themselves up for failure. They're definitely going to lose against the Patriots. I think the Patriots are going to smoke them. Then you got the Bills on Thanksgiving.
I don't know if they'll lose to the Bills.
I don't think they'll lose that game, but that's going to be a tough game, especially 4 days after the Patriots, which would probably be a loss. Then you got another Thursday night game so you got the Thursday day game on Thanksgiving against the Bills. Then you got a Thursday night game December 5th against the Bears. That's away.
So back-to-back primetime games, or?
Well, back-to-back Thursday games because it went Thanksgiving and then the following Thursday.
So it's Patriots, Bills, Bears.
Bears in Chicago in December. That's probably gonna be cold.
Yeah.
Then you got the Rams at home. Then you got the Eagles in Philly, and then you got the Redskins. So right now, Cowboys are 6-4. Let's say out of those 4 games before the Eagles game, they lose 2 of them, maybe 3. I'd say they're definitely losing against the Patriots. I think they lose against the Rams, even though Goff sucks.
I would say they lose to the Rams and Patriots and Bears. I don't think they'll lose to the Bills.
I would say Bears. So let's say.
So that puts them at 7-7.
Let's say they, and then 7-7. Eagles got Seattle next week. Let's call it a loss. Then you got now you're 5-6. Then you got Miami. That's a win. You got the Giants. Looks very much like a win. So now you're at 7-6. Then you got the Redskins again. That's looking like 8-6.
Okay.
Then you got the Cowboys again. That at that point, the Cowboys are still undefeated in the division.
Mm-hmm.
Eagles still only have 1 loss in the division. You beat the Cowboys there. You're 9-6. You're sending them to 7-8. And that's pretty much locked up the division right there. Obviously, it all really hinges on what the Cowboys do. The Eagles really shot themselves in the foot so many times this season. But
if they get to the playoffs,
the division is still there. And when you get to the playoffs, anything can happen.
Okay.
A double doink can happen.
Absolutely. So you know what? I will leave my mild hope right there.
You feel better about that? Fire Mike Rowe and Carson Walsh.
I'm dying for that time. If that doesn't happen this offseason.
That's what I was saying about, there's no talent on this coaching staff anymore. There really isn't. When the Super Bowl winning team, you had it and I hate comparing to Dallas. I hate it, but I'm going to. You see the season Dak's having this season. Mm-hmm. He has Jason Garrett, former quarterback. He has his old backup quarterback as his offensive coordinator, who is a quarterback. Mm-hmm. His quarterback's coach is John Kitna, I believe, former quarterback, who also played for Dallas.
Which was the formula in 2017.
So in 2017, you had Doug Peterson, former quarterback, Frank Reich, former quarterback, John DeFilippo. No, he didn't play, but he was really good offensive mind.
He wasn't a former coach. I feel like there was somebody else in that. You sure Filippo wasn't a former quarterback? Or backup? Maybe in college? Or high school? Somewhere? Huey?
Maybe in his dreams.
Maybe Madden?
Let's see. The 2017. So we got the coaching staff was. So you got Press Taylor was a former quarterback who is still on the team now. He's the quarterback's coach right now. He's not doing a great job, but John DeFilippo. Let's see. He was
college football.
Well, he was the quarterback's coach in his career. Quarterback's coach at Fordham. Graduate assistant at Notre Dame. Quarterback's coach at Columbia. Offensive quality coach in the Giants. Quarterback's coach for the Raiders. Quarterback's coach for the Jets. Quarterback's coach for San Jose State. Offensive coordinator and quarterback's coach at San Jose State. Quarterbacks coach for the Raiders, offensive coordinator for the Browns, quarterbacks coach for the Eagles. So everywhere he's went, he's been pretty much the quarterbacks coach and or offensive coordinator. So he has the pedigree. You know, it's so he had the resume for that. And you know, you had all these people who were former quarterbacks who had worked with quarterbacks before helping the Eagles, and that's what got them there. So right now you still have the Peterson there, but
Peterson looks like a shell of himself. Like, this is last year and this year.
I don't think he has the trust. He doesn't have the trust. Oh, hold on. I looking up Mike Groh right now. Mike Groh is a Morris County guy.
Oh, he's from Jersey?
He's from Jersey. He is from Randolph High School.
Yeah, he's a square.
That's 10 minutes from me. I'm about to go to that high school right now and write down, you know, and find all his records and just take them off the wall.
At the end of the day, they got to get rid of the guy who got fired by his own father in Virginia.
Yeah.
Cut the crap. Like, you're limiting Doug Peterson's creativity right now. Because I truly feel like, you know, no matter what, Peterson had a huge hand in 2017. As much as I in my gut, it's telling me Frank Reich was the Carson Wentz and Doug Peterson whisperer. I feel like Peterson could still be great. You got to cut the crap. Like, it's wild that our coach has no talent in his coordinators, and our quarterback has no talent in his receivers.
Groh was the team's quarterback and kicker. So there we go. That's why he sucks so much.
Because he was the kicker.
He was a kicker. No offense to Jake Elliott. So, he's a kicker, Randolph. Jesus Christ. Like, how do you get fired by your own father?
That's tough. That's mentally scarring. So maybe he's not recovered from that. I personally feel like he needs to be evaluated by the team therapist and possibly let go on leave. You know, they have the Family Medical Leave Act, probably in Philly if they have it in Jersey. Something of that sort.
Groh needs to go.
In a hurry.
Hashtag Groh needs to go.
So before we wrap it up.
I'm just trying to figure out who can come in here and give Peterson that trust. Again, the trust that Frank Reich had.
It's going to be somebody like probably from Kansas City or something from like the roots of Peterson.
But like you look at Kansas City's, like right now, all you got Reed in Kansas City, Peterson. Right now, the Reed coaching tree he's in Kansas City right now. You got Peterson, you got Nagy in Chicago.
What about Nagy?
No, you know what? Let's get Jay Gruden over here.
He's not with Oakland?
No, that's his brother, John.
I know, but they were talking about bringing him as a special advisor.
No, he's not there. I'm all for bringing Jay Gruden. Jay Gruden was able to, as much as I clown, because he was on the Redskins, so you got to clown them. As much as I clowned him on the Redskins, he was able to work with so many different quarterbacks and find some success.
Yeah, I mean, Kirk Cousins did pretty good against the Eagles.
He had Cousins. He had Alex Smith. He had like John Johnson, Colt McCoy, Dwayne Haskins, Mark Sanchez, RG3. You know, he had all these different quarterbacks, and he was able to make it work. So bring a mind like that in, who has the experience of playing with really bad quarterbacks, and say, hey, look at what Kirk did here. Don't do that. Look at RG3 here.
And on top of that, he has the experience of playing against Wentz. Like, so I'm pretty sure, like, that's great to have somebody from the outside looking in.
He can come in
me too hyped up right now. I'm completely for this right now.
He can come in and say, well, when we beat you this game, this is what we saw.
Yeah, but I don't think he should do all that, though.
Absolutely. If Wentz wants to grow, he needs to take some construction criticism like that. Jay Gruden can come in and say, listen, here's the tape we used when we faced you. And we looked at this, and we looked at that, and this is why we were able to key on this and this. This is what you need to fix. If you have a guy like that who faced him, that can help.
Touché. I'm completely on train with this.
You need to get people in that quarterback room that know the game in and out.
This is not a quarterback I trust.
And you don't need This is not a team where you can get like rookie coaches in here and hope for the best. That's for rebuilding teams. This is not a rebuilding team. This is a retooling team. And part of that retooling team is getting coaches who know what the hell they're doing. And right now, Groh has no idea what the hell they're doing. Carson Wentz has no idea what the hell he's doing. When you have two coaches who were praising Matt Collins for lining up correctly, knowing where to line up.
For showing up.
For showing up. He gives himself an A+ for this. I know we said this in the last podcast, but it still blows my fucking mind that you're going to really say that at a press conference. Oh, yeah, Matt Collins, he knows where to line up, so that's how we grade. Shut up.
Yeah, that's terrible. I have no words for that.
Get us the wide receivers coach from Alabama. When we draft Ruggs, or hopefully CeeDee Lamb, get that wide receiver coach from Alabama. That's the only rookie wide receiver coach I want on the roster. Get a wide receiver coach who has success with receivers. Because Alabama's wide receivers, they're nuts.
I'm really hoping that they let JJ loose at some point this season or maybe next year. But
he has coming out game, 1 reception for 29 yards.
No, don't do that. Look, how you feeling about next week?
Depressed.
Seattle's coming to the link for the first time in a long time. Russell Wilson looks like the MVP this year.
Depressed.
Should we even do like a prediction on that? Is that like?
Fuck it. Why not? I mean, listen. Like during the before the season, we did our picks every week. We picked every single game.
I'm still going with my pick this game.
And I saw this as a loss. I saw the Seattle game as a loss. I saw the New England game as a win. I've been wrong many times this year. But
we've both been wrong so many times this year.
But I'm not gonna go on my podcast and say the Eagles are gonna lose. That's just bad juju. So, but it's gonna be a tough game next week. You got because Seattle's defense isn't that great. You still got Bobby Wagner there.
The problem is that Philly cannot contain Russell Wilson. Like, nobody can contain Russell Wilson. And they have a deep threat in Tyler Lockett. They have a deep threat in Josh Gordon. They have a big threat in DK Metcalf, even though he's a rookie. We don't have that many cornerbacks like that.
Right now, Russell Wilson is averaging 273 yards per game. He's leading the league in passer rating, 114.9. He's leading the league in touchdown passes with 23. He only has 2 interceptions. He's only been
Eagles
sacked.
Don't get turnovers like that.
He's been sacked 27 times. He has 4 fourth-quarter comebacks this year and 5 game-winning drives. You don't let Russell Wilson have the ball late in the game. That's just bad.
I'm going 27-24 Philly.
Who's scoring those? Who's scoring those for the Eagles?
Jordan Howard, baby.
All of them. All of them. Alshon Jeffrey. No. And so far, he's averaging an additional 25.6 rushing yards a game with 3 touchdowns.
So tormenting me at this point.
Wilson
I'm not changing my prediction.
Over 300 yards on his own every game, and he's averaging. Oh my God! Like he's averaging 5 yards a carry too. So you let him scramble, he's getting 5 yards. 2 scrambles, that's another first down. He's just tearing everybody apart. And we have linebackers who have no idea where, and it's really only Nate Jerry, who have no idea where the hell they are. And we have corners who no, I'm not going to say anything about the corners because they've been playing very good.
Yeah, let them rock. Let's not throw bad juju away.
And then and then with the Seattle's defense, they're going to have a field day with our defense, with our receivers, because our receivers can't do shit.
They're going to be like, look, he's trying to do something.
Like in every game, so Seattle's given up 28 points to Cincinnati, 26 to Pittsburgh, 33 to New Orleans, 10 to Arizona, 29 to the Rams, 28 to the Browns, 30 to the Ravens, 20 to the Falcons, 34 to Tampa, and then 24 to the Niners. So they've been able to – other teams have been able to score on Seattle. It's just stopping Russell Wilson.
That's the key. We haven't faced a mobile quarterback like him all year, except Dak, and look what happened with the Cowboys.
God damn it, I'm so depressed right now. Good thing that game is at 1. And everybody wants to say, like, when I tweeted out, I was so happy that they changed the game to 1. And we got people, stupid ass people, saying if you're happy that this game's at 1 because you want to get more sleep, you're such a loser. Shut the hell up. Sorry,
it's not a primetime game. Like,
sorry, you don't have the stamina as you, Mr. Stamina. But I think it's more, and I think it's more because you're having Seattle travel across the country for a 1 p.m. game that is 10 a.m. their body clock time. It's a 3-hour difference. So
there's a possible advantage.
So there's a possible advantage that their body's not as warmed up as it should be, and people are like, well, they have a bye week. That doesn't. I mean, are they going to travel earlier than that if they have a bye week? Are they going to come a little earlier to get adjusted to the schedule? What does that have to do with anything? Mm-hmm. Getting a bye week is more for adjusting the game plan and all that stuff, and you're watching the game and see what you can do. But that doesn't change time. So they still have to travel across country and deal with a 3-hour time difference.
Yeah, they'll probably travel that Saturday. And, yeah, it may be an advantage for us, but
come Friday. But
every time there's an advantage for us, we end up losing that advantage.
I just hope my baby comes next Sunday, so I don't even have to.
So you don't have to witness it?
We'll see. All right. I'm done with this.
Yeah,
it's depressing.
I think it's our first depressing pod. I mean, we haven't had a pod where it's kind of like this. Like, this just feels down.
I think it's more because this game was there.
It was right in their hands.
This game was absolutely there. Mm-hmm. You held Tom Brady to 0 touchdowns. You got scored on by freaking Julian Edelman passing a touchdown.
Yep.
You were up 10-0. You had your foot almost at the throat.
And didn't even score in the second half.
But then they took your foot and then they dropped you on your back and they ran all over you.
Yep.
Anyways, thank you all again. I did do a giveaway. I did do a giveaway.
Real quick, just to interrupt you. Shout out to Isaac, who's coming in clutch again. Shouting us out on Twitter, saying that this podcast is about to be popping. But you know what? It's popping just because we shouted you out. So Isaac is a hero today for all Eagles fans right now.
Isaac is a man. You're trying to
uplift our spirits.
Our spirits. You haven't even heard us yet. I feel like you sensed that we were down. So you're like, you know what? I need to get on these guys' feelings and bring them up. But so when I on Twitter I said, and I got called out by so many people. I couldn't be mad. I said we have DNA for Deshaun Nelson, and I said Deshaun Nelson and Aguilar instead of saying Deshaun Nelson and Alshon. Like, how stupid am I? And no one else had really caught up on that. And I woke up this morning and I was like, wait a minute. Someone retweeted it, like, wait, what? And I was about to comment back like DNA, and then I reread my tweet. I was like, oh shit! I said Deshaun Nelson and Aguilar, and other people were tweeting like, oh, it's not Aguilar. I know, I owned up to it. Leave me alone. So I said, how about we get a nickname for the three-headed monster we have coming up here with Howard when he's healthy, Sanders, and Ajayi. We got some good ones. We got Ham, Howard, Ajayi, Miles.
You could just go with Jam.
Or
Jordan, Ajayi, Miles.
Jordan, Ajayi, Miles. I think it was Jam, not Ham.
Oh, okay. I hope it was Ham.
I just made up Ham myself.
You a little hungry, bro?
We about to go ham. And it was someone else. I forget who it was. I gotta look through it. But if you're listening right now, send us a tweet of what your nickname will be for the three-headed monster that we're gonna unveil. Hopefully, some point during this season. I hope. Maybe we'll see. We'll see what happens. Because the last time we had a trio with a nickname called DNA. One of them is out for the season, and one of them can't catch any passes.
The other one's hands is out for the season.
The other one has a calf that is gonna jump out of his leg. But so we don't want to jinx them, but it'll be cool. It'll be like, oh look, they're going ham, or that's my jam, Space Jam. Oh, one of them was Space Jam because they all make plays in space. So you got Jordan, Ajayi.
Okay.
Oh, that was a good one. I like that one.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Did you come up with that one, or is
no? It
was somebody else? Okay.
That's someone else. All right. Thanks everyone for listening to our depression podcast.
You know where to find us: B Cameron PSN, Infante 54. That's infant with an E 54, and at Flipping Birds Pod. Until next week, guys, where we take on Seattle.
5-5, whatever. I'm gonna go to bed. Go Birds.
Yes, sir.